Welcome to the Simple Life channel. The first thing I did was add English subtitles to the video. So you can open the subtitles section. Because this is the first video of the channel. So I will talk a little bit about why I created this channel. The main reason why I created this channel is to make money. Oh no, it is to give the value of knowledge and joy to you and myself. I have never considered myself smart or excellent in learning, but I have to admit that I am very eager to learn and passionate about self-development, and I know that you are watching my videos are also eager to learn. Otherwise you have switched to TikTok to watch the girls dance. In this video, I will convey knowledge to you by summarizing 3 to 4 main ideas in a good book. Then I will choose the most valuable and most pragmatic idea. Which means that knowledge must be able to be applied in practice in the same way as how to build a habit. And I will also be a guinea pig to experiment with this knowledge. So you can completely rest assured of the practical applicability of this knowledge. Let's stop rambling now and get started. Today's book I introduce to you is a book that, Born in This Land. This is the autobiography of the author Chung Ju-young. A few things about the author. He is Korean and the founder of Hyundai Company, one of the 5 largest companies in Korea. To understand the role of him and Hyundai Company in the Korean economy. Someone said that, if there is no Hyundai, maybe Korea has developed 10 to 20 years slower than today. And after reading this book, we can see that this saying is not unfounded. As mentioned above, I will not review the book but only raise a few core lessons in the book. So if you want to see the book review, you can find it on YouTube. In addition, you can also buy books or download online reading apps to read. For me, this is really a very valuable book. But in the book, there is a paragraph where the author talks about the weaknesses of the government in the past and what the government at that time made difficult for his company. This paragraph has no value for me. So if you read this paragraph, you can ignore it. After reading this autobiography, especially in his childhood, we can see that to go from the starting line of empty hands to today's success. As all thanks to his virtue and character. And first lesson I learned from that author was industrious. Born and raised in a poor farming family with many brothers and sisters. And was the eldest sibling in the family. So from a young age, he had to drop out of school to join his father in the field to sell his face to the land to sell his back to the sky. He and his father used to go to the field from early in the morning until sunset. So his childhood period was almost devoid of the concept of having fun. Despite working so hard because his family was so large, his family often ate porridge to get by. The days of working hard in the field helped him to practice the virtue of hard work, no matter how hard the work was. He also worked hard to overcome it. The second lesson was about saving, when his family was still difficult. His mother, in order to have a little more fertilizer for crops, started in the morning. She soon took the bucket to pick up dog manure and cow manure on the road to fertilize the crop. So it can be said that he also inherited this saving virtue from his parents. I myself have not reached the point of having to pick up dog manure and cow manure like that. But my family is also a normal farming family. So I also understand some of his thoughts. The author says that, for him, the virtue of saving here, not only in terms of material aspects but also in saving time and energy. Because in a way, money is also a manifestation of time and energy. The third lesson, and also the lesson I want to convey to everyone today, is the lesson about doing the best job possible. In the book, the author recounts the early days of his work, and one of his first jobs was to work at a rice shop. Although the shop owner did not ask for it, from the day he started working, the author would come every day early and consistently to clean the shop and sprinkle water on the ground to prevent dust. Not like me, back when I was working. If my shift started at 12 o'clock, I'd show up at 11:58 and still think I was early. He made sure to complete his tasks diligently and even helped with things he wasn't asked to do. Thanks to his attitude, his bosses really liked him. He said that for him, if something isn't done, then that's fine, but once it's started, it must be done to the best of one's ability. Another example of this is when he opened the car repair shop. The law at the time only allowed car manufacturers to open repair shops. So his business was, and almost every day, the police would come to his shop and threaten to shut it down and arrest everyone in the shop. So for him at that time, every day felt like walking on thin ice. He then decided to fight fire with fire. Every day, he would go in front of the chief of police's house to ask for permission for his repair shop to operate. At first, the chief of police refused to meet him. But after a month, the chief of police finally decided to overlook his shop because he admired the author's persistence. And partly because he couldn't stand seeing the man standing in front of his house every morning. To the author, this was a clear example of doing something so well that it couldn't be done any better. A principle he followed throughout his life. And for me, this is the most valuable lesson I've learned from him. Now, how do we apply this lesson to our own lives? I'll share a simple method that has almost completely transformed my life and helped me become a better version of myself. The method is simple. Do a few small tasks to the best of your ability. Pick a few small tasks. And each day, do them as well as you can. The nature of these tasks may not seem important. But what matters is that you will develop your own work ethic, which in turn helps improve the quality of your life. The method is divided into 3 steps. Step 1. Each day. Do these 3 tasks. Wash the dishes, sweep the floor, and type on the keyboard. I'll explain why I chose these tasks later. The minimum time to do these each day is 30 minutes. If you're really tired, just do 5 minutes and come back to the full 30 minutes the next day. The maximum time is up to you. When you feel tired, stop. The goal is to build a habit, not to push yourself so hard one day that you can't continue the next. After that, set a repeating alarm each day, just like in the picture. If you don't set the alarm now, I bet that after watching a few videos of those girls shaking and dancing on TikTok, you'll forget this entire video. Okay. Now let's move on to step 2. Do it the best you can. There are 3 aspects to this. First, focus. Just like the saying, the number 1 enemy of success is emotions. I have a similar saying, the number 1 enemy of focus is the phone. So, when you're doing these tasks, turn on the Do Not Disturb mode on your phone and computer. When you're working, focus only on that task. For example, when I sweep the floor, I honestly hate sweeping because it's boring and doesn't seem to benefit my life. So, I used to listen to music or audiobooks while sweeping to make it less tedious. However, since I started implementing this method, I've determined that what I'm doing is not just sweeping the floor but developing my work ethic. So I focus solely on sweeping without music or audiobooks. And of course, I don't talk while doing this. In summary, just sweep the floor. The same applies to washing dishes or typing. Why these 3 tasks? Well, I chose them because they don't require much mental effort when you're training your focus. If you do it with tasks that require a lot of thought, like studying or creating content, your brain can easily get overwhelmed. That's why I recommend starting with simple, repetitive tasks. The second aspect is quality. Sweep the floor as clean as possible. Wash the dishes thoroughly, and type with perfect spelling and grammar, just like executing a flawless combo in a video game. The third aspect is speed. Do the task as quickly as you can without compromising quality. If you rush and the quality drops, You're doing it wrong. Now, let's move on to step 3, continuous improvement. This comes from the saying, nobody's perfect. There's always a way to do things better. Now, I will give an example from my own experience to make it easier for you to understand. This storytelling part might be a bit long-winded, so I hope you can bear with me. If you can't, that's fine too. When I was young, I was a very dawdle person. And the most obvious manifestation of this was being late for school. Honestly, I've never seen anyone who arrives late to school as often as I do. This problem became serious when I was in 9th grade. I remember that on Mondays and Wednesdays, we had a morning assembly. So other students would arrive at school, attend the assembly, and then go to class, while I would arrive late, waiting outside until everyone had gone in before I would ride my bike into school. In Vietnam, if you arrive late for school, teachers will scold you. This is like a school rule. So when you violate it, you will be reprimanded. Fortunately, I was a diligent and well-behaved student, so my teacher was very fond of me. Even though I was often late, she would just smile and remind me to try to come earlier next time. But high school was different. My high school teacher didn't pamper me like that and would scold me harshly. However, just like the lyrics of a song by a singer, passion has flowed in my blood for a long time. So the teacher's scolding could not stop my passion for being late. In high school, when classes started, the school would close the gates. And there were guards, so I couldn't enter through the main gate anymore. If you arrive late and enter through the main gate, teachers will catch you and punish you. But if you climb over the wall, no one will know. So, in high school, when I was late, I often climbed over the wall to get into school. And when climbing over the wall, there were only certain spots where I could find a foothold. Not every section of the wall was climbable. I often climbed where there was a small tree next to the wall to use as a foothold. The problem was that if I climbed in that spot, I would land right in front of the girls' restroom, from the outside. You can only see the restroom door, so don't think wrong. One day, I was late for school, and as usual, I went straight to the spot where I usually climbed up. After looking around and seeing no one watching, I climbed up. When I had just poked my head over the wall, I saw a girl coming out of the restroom, and she immediately spotted me. She pointed straight at my face, and out of reflex, since I was doing something wrong, I quickly pulled my head back down. I had to wait about 10 more minutes until she left before I dared to climb into school. It is one of my memorable school experiences. After graduating, I went to study in South Korea. There, studying was secondary, and working was primary. In South Korea, instead of being late for school, I transitioned to being late for work. Of course, since I was working for someone else, I only occasionally arrived late. Not as often as at school, but even occasionally was enough to make my boss furious. Luckily, he was quite nice. Thinking back, I realize I gave him a hard time. It wasn't until I practiced this method that I stopped being late for work. Specifically, after reading this book, I applied this method to sweeping sauce at a fried chicken shop. This task is simple. You just need to spread sauce evenly on the fried chicken. When I had free time at the shop, I could sleep or play on my phone. But when sweeping sauce, I would do my best, whether there were others around or not. Specifically, I focused solely on the task without chatting. I also paid attention to the quality of the product I was making to ensure it was acceptable. Previously, I could work slowly when the shop was quiet. But when I practiced this method, whether the shop was busy or not, I always tried to work as quickly as possible while ensuring the quality of the product. While doing this, I noticed I often lost focus and compared myself to others. wondering if they were working faster or slower than me. It was like being in an exam room. But instead of focusing on your own test, you pay attention to see what question the person next to you is on, whether they're faster or slower than you. After much trial and error, I found a solution. I started focusing on the sensations in my left hand while working, which helped me stay concentrated while brushing the sauce. Now, let me explain how brushing sauce at the fried chicken restaurant relates to breaking my habit of being late to school and work. The main reason is that when I put in the effort to brush the sauce perfectly, it helps me develop a focused and agile work ethic, as well as take control of the quality of the result. From there, when I do other tasks, I apply the same approach. The method I'm about to share with you is designed to help you do small tasks as best as you can. Once you've mastered doing small things well, you'll gradually learn how to excel at larger tasks. Because a big task is really just a collection of small tasks. I spent a lot of time and effort to achieve these results. So I hope you'll have the strength to persevere. Alright, I'll summarize the main points of the video for you. First, we discussed the book, Born of This Land, by Chung Ju Young. To me, it's a truly valuable book, and I recommend you give it a read. The book has 3 main lessons: the importance of hard work, the importance of frugality, and the lesson of doing your best. Especially in the 3rd lesson, I shared with you a method that helps me do a small task to the best of my ability. In this video, you can skip everything else, but make sure to watch this part of the method carefully over and over again, as it's the most valuable part of the video. The method is broken down into 3 steps. Step 1. Every day, dedicate at least 30 minutes to doing 3 tasks: washing dishes, sweeping the floor, and typing on the keyboard. Set an alarm to remind yourself to practice the method daily. Step 2. Do the task as well as you can, focusing on 3 aspects. First, focus entirely on the task. Turn on Do Not Disturb mode. And don't talk, or listen to music, or audiobooks. Just focus on one thing. Second, aim for the highest quality. Clean the house thoroughly. Make sure dishes are spotless, or type without typos. Third, work on your speed. Gradually increase your speed while maintaining the quality of your work. Step 3. Spend time continuously improving your work to enhance the 3 aspects above. As I said earlier, these tasks themselves aren't important. What we're really doing is training our work habits and learning how to do small things well, so that in the future, we can excel at bigger things. If you're serious about changing your life, I suggest you take a screenshot of this method, read it carefully, and set an alarm to practice it daily. If you don't set the alarm now, there is a 99% chance that you will not implement this method. This reminds me of Albert Einstein's famous quote, "Nothing happens until something moves." If you don't take action, nothing will change. Okay, that's everything I wanted to share in this video. Thank you for watching, and good luck. I wish you success.